Israel is digging its own grave, or more precisely, Netanyahu is digging it, plunging his country into a constant spiral of geopolitical isolation and deteriorating relations with its historical allies as well as potential future allies, as he orders the invasion of Rafah, a territory with a huge population density. But how did we get here? Well, it all starts with Israel's history and the geopolitical strategy that came out of it. You see, Israel, from the point of its creation, from the very beginning, was surrounded by countries that seek to destroy it. Egypt, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan are just a few of the countries that attempted to destroy the Jewish state. This created a situation where the country needed to build an image of strength to deter potential invaders, and that's what they did. Throughout their history, the Israelis managed to build an impressive bleeding edge military, with some help from the US. And by some help, I mean billions of dollars every year. In their arsenal, the Israelis have 606 fighter jets, of which the most notable is the 93 F 35s, 175 F 16s, and 66 F 15s. They also have 2,200 main battle tanks, a lot of cutting edge drones, the Iron Dome air defense system, and one of the best surveillance and cybersecurity networks in the world. They are also really good at lobbying their interests in the US government. Anyways, you get the point. Israel has built an impressive military to deter potential invaders, but actual strength is not the goal of the Israeli defense strategy. The appearance of strength is much more important. Have you ever heard of the phrase, all bark, no bite? Well, this is kind of the case when it comes to Israel, but it's more like all bark, some bite. Like that of many other countries, the Israeli military is strong, but its main goal is to scare away potential adversaries, not actually fighting. It is made to send a sign to a potential aggressor that Israel has a capability and is willing to strike back in the case of provocation. That's why, when the October 7th attack happened, Israel had no choice but to respond with force, as the attack broke the image of invincibility that the Jewish state built and revealed weakness. And so they did. They besieged Gaza, invaded it, and started a relentless bombing campaign. And this is where the Israelis make a massive mistake. That is, they don't back down after the initial pressure. No matter how much international pressure was put on them, they continued the invasion. To the point that, as of late, Israel is slowly becoming a pariah state. Their relations with the Arab countries, like Saudi Arabia, went from somewhat positive and improving to really bad. The Israelis went from negotiating recognition with the Saudis to freezing talks indefinitely. But the relations are not only getting worse with Arab countries, where such deterioration can be explained through religion. The Americans are also slowly turning their cold shoulder towards Israel. They stopped shipment of certain types of military aid and are taking steps to distance themselves from the Israelis' actions. This is happening for two main reasons. First of all, American support of Israel is a stain on its relations with other countries, like Indonesia, and damaging to its image overall. And if that's not enough, Washington's support of Israel is not only unfavorable geopolitically, but also domestically. The American public is slowly moving away from Israel, especially Gen Z. As the memory of World War II fades, the Israelis are starting to lose sympathy points in the American public. You can see this from the recent surveys taken of the American public. In a recent poll by the Pew Research Center, 45% of adult Americans under the age of 29 are against US aid to Israel, as opposed to 16% who are pro. The Chinese and Russians are also cutting ties with Israel, as like for the US, such relations are very unfavorable geopolitically, especially since China and Russia are trying to build a quote global south coalition where many countries like South Africa and Iran don't feel too positively towards Israel. Speaking about nations that don't view Israel positively, let's talk about the European countries that recognize Palestine as a nation. As of now, Norway, Spain, Ireland, and Slovenia are the countries in the EU that officially recognize Palestine, which is a big problem for the Israelis. And if that's not enough, what if I tell you that Israel is actually getting genocide accusations thrown at it? And that's not from Twitter activists, but official sources. There currently is a case launched by South Africa against Israel that accuses the Jewish state of genociding the Palestinians in Gaza. So then, if the backlash against them is so strong, why are they continuing with the invasion? Why don't they just take the victory and accept a ceasefire? Well, this is where the internal politics come in. Or specifically, a guy called Netanyahu. A large part of Netanyahu's political legitimacy hinged on his management of the country's security. It literally says that, quote, the Gaza Strip shall remain under full Israeli control in the official platform of Netanyahu's party, the Likud party. But with the October 7th attacks, this political popularity built from security went completely out of the window. The October 7th attack was seen as a failure of his policies. His already bad approval rating fell to 15%, and he had to create a coalition government. Netanyahu's political career was over. But there is one thing that could possibly prolong it. That is continuing the conflict. As long as the war drags on, Netanyahu can hold on to power, and that's precisely what he's doing. As of now, Bibi has done everything he can to stop any ceasefire negotiations and became even more aggressive towards Iran and Hezbollah, seeking conflict as it is the only way he sees to stay in power. However, it's not all his fault, as there is one more thing that can explain the irrationality of Israel's actions. That is Netanyahu's reliance on the extreme right. You see, to get into power, Bibi struck a deal with the devil. That is, he formed a coalition with religious extremists. The six parties in his coalition are Likud, Netanyahu's party; Shas, a Sephardic Zionist conservative party; National Religious Party, a party representing the Zionist movement; United Torah Judaism, a party representing Haredi Jews; Otzma Yehudit, a nationalist Zionist party; Noam, another Zionist conservative party. Now, what do these parties have in common? You're right, they are all Zionist, except United Torah Judaism. They see the invasion of Gaza as an opportunity to resettle it. And these parties hold a significant amount of leverage over Netanyahu, which they are using to achieve their goal. But what they aren't realizing is that there is a price to their actions in the form of their country's international legitimacy.